Number 5, you better look at him a little closer. He's a football player.
Watch out! McFadden at the 25, 15, 5, touchdown.
Say goodbye. Darren McFadden, 80 yards, touchdown.
D-Mac not looking back, touchdown.
How about that Heisman, Mark Jones?
How do you like
Wide
that?
open again.
Watch out! He's gone. I think gets a great block and goes 73 yards.
I got that wood.
Welcome back into the Morning Rush. Let's go to the phone lines and talk to the greatest Razorback of all time. Darren McFadden now joins us here on the Morning Rush. Darren, really appreciate the time. I've heard your interviews. You've got the name. You've got the voice. When are you going to come take my job? Do you got any interest in sports broadcasting, man?
First, I appreciate you guys having me on. That's something I'm not going to close the door to as far as doing some broadcasting. I think that's something I'd very much be interested in one day. But right now, I guess I'll tell myself I'm in a transitional phase right now still. I like staying at home with the kids, and so I haven't been in a rush just to jump back into anything.
Well, if you get into morning radio, we only get up at 4:30. 4:30 in the morning doesn't bother you. This is great.
Well, I probably have to do the evening hours then, so that way I can go for 4:30 in the evening.
Darren, I know you've done a bunch of these over the years. What moment, what game are you asked about the most when it comes to these type of interviews?
Hands down, off the top of my head, I always have to say the Arkansas LSU 2007. Tell everybody that was one of the most favorite games of my life right there as a Razorback. A lot of people always talk about the South Carolina game where I rushed for 321, but I always tell people, that was a record-setting game, but it still doesn't do what beating LSU did for our team and the university at the time.
Let's go to that 2007 season. I know that win against LSU, number one team in the country, the great post-game interview you and your coach Houston Nutt did was incredible. But I want to point to another game that season. How about the 195 yards, 2 touchdowns that you put on Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide? But the most memorable moment from that game, man, first quarter.
3rd and 2.
3rd and 2. You're pumping up Bryant-Denny Stadium. No one else did that to Nick Saban in Alabama. Why did you, man?
It was always one of those things going against Alabama. They was always a hard-nosed defense, and that was one of those defenses that everybody says you couldn't run the ball on, you couldn't do this against. And, I had enough confidence in myself and the offensive line that we had that, I feel like if we needed 2 yards, we can definitely go out there and get 2 yards. So that's why I didn't have a problem doing it at all.
What made Houston Nutt such a great motivator? He was on our afternoon show earlier this week, and he still gets fans going. What, as a player, made him such a great motivator for you and your teammates?
Man, it's hard to even explain. Like you say, he's just a guy that once he talked to you, we always have these things, we call them 48-hour meetings before the game. We would do them Thursday night. Every time you get out of that meeting, I wish we can go play this game right now because you just want to run through a wall for him. It's the motivation he has. He's a great motivator, a great speaker. He's an all-around great person. And in my opinion, he's one of the greatest coaches that's been through the University of Arkansas.
You didn't have just one coach, Nutt. You had 2 while you were at Arkansas. Tell us what it was like to play not for one, but for 2 of the Nutt brothers.
It was always great playing for Danny Nutt. We built a great relationship when I was in high school. He would come to my high school games and see me play. He even came to a few of my basketball games in high school. And we just always built a great relationship. We continue to have that relationship to this day. They're just great guys. They're the type of guys that you want to always be friends with, have around for a long time.
We're speaking with Darren McFadden here on the Morning Rush. Darren, you bring up high school, played your ball at Oak Grove. I was told by people that watched you in high school that you were never tackled by just one person. They never saw you tackled by just one person. Darren, what was the moment, what was the game, whether it was high school or middle school, where you realized, hey, I'm pretty good at this?
I'm going to get into that, but I have a story about the being tackled by one person. It's actually kind of funny. I never forget, I was a senior in high school, and we were playing Mayflower, and all the Arkansas coaches there on the sideline watching me play. I broke out for a run. I broke 3 tackles, got free to the end zone, and tripped myself up. And so that's one play I always remember, that when people say I can't get tackled by one person, but I can tackle myself. But I would say that starting to think about it, I was actually pretty good at this thing, man. As far as being able to go to college anyway, was probably late in my sophomore season of high school, early in my junior year. We had a team. We weren't the best team, but we were very dominant on the ground. And, I contributed to a lot of that right there. And, that's when I started really seeing that, if I can keep these things going, I can definitely make it to the college level for sure.
Darren, one of the things that made you so dynamic, your size, your speed, defenses got worn down against you, is because you sought out contact. Had you always played that way growing up, or was that more of a mentality that you took on when you got to Arkansas?
that was the way that I always played. I can always remember playing Little League, and my dad would always tell me you have to punish the tackler. At that time, I didn't understand what it means, but as I got older, I really understood what it means. You have to punish the tackler, because I've been playing against some of the best linebackers in the country, and after going head-to-head 3 or 4 times, I could tell they started kind of shying away from those in the hole kind of tackles. And so that's something that I really just tried to always tell myself, man, just keep it going, and, don't let them see any weakness in you.
Take us back to the origination of the Wild Hog at Arkansas. When the coaching staff came to you, did it begin in practice? Where did the conversations begin that, Darren, we want you to line up, take the snap, and on occasion throw the football? How did all of that begin back in your college days?
Danny Nutt used to come and watch me play always in high school. He would come to my high school practice and everything, and him and my high school coach, John Mays, built a great relationship, and they would have conversations about me, and he would ask Coach Mays, like, can he actually quarterback? And Coach Mays was like, yeah, he can quarterback, but I just like him better as a running back. And so by me being able to, I kind of just be versatile like that, they kind of threw the ideal out there and see how it worked in practice a couple times. We made a few plays and just kind of took off from there. When we first installed it, we just installed it as a package, and then coming into my junior year, it was just part of our offense.
Did you ever think it would change the way football was played? Because Arkansas was the first to do it. You were the first to do it. Called it the Wildcat. It became the Wild Hog. But then Georgia had the Wild Dog. We saw it in the high school ranks, in the pros. Did you think it would change the way offenses were played if they had the right guy to do that? Because you were the first in this generation, at least, to do that, and it really changed the way offenses were operated.
I never thought about that in a million years. One guy I always look at, but he was actually a quarterback, was Michael Vick. Well, also Cordell Stewart, he did a lot of making plays with his legs and everything. But guys like that, I just always, even growing up, I actually wanted to play quarterback. That's a different story with what happened there. But I actually wanted to play quarterback growing up, and those are some of the guys that I idolized. By me moving to running back, I still felt right at home because I love physical contact.
We're speaking with Darren McFadden here on the Morning Rush. Darren, you bring up Michael Vick and some other comparisons. When you think about all-time SEC running backs, Herschel Walker's at 1, Bo Jackson's at 2, Darren McFadden's at 3. How incredible is it to be mentioned with those guys in one of the best position groups in the history of college football?
Just to be mentioned in the same category with those guys, it's just unbelievable, man. There's been several other great running backs to come through the SEC to be ranked above those guys, man. It's just an unbelievable thing, but it's definitely an honor to be. I'm very thankful for it.
So who was a guy, either current or past, that you really idolized and you felt like your game was very similar towards?
I can't say I just have one person I just completely idolized as a running back. I have several running backs that I watched growing up that I like. Terrell Davis being one, Jerome Bettis, a guy that's close to this era. Love watching a guy like Adrian Peterson run the ball. Those are some of the guys that, when I see those guys run the ball, I'm like, man, they run the ball the way it's supposed to be ran.
D-Mac, we've had a lot of conversations over the last few months and the last few weeks in particular about the Heisman Trophy and the things that went down. And I think all Arkansans feel this way, that what happened in the 2 times you were runner-up, particularly the first one, just wasn't right. What are your emotions? What are your feelings towards those 2 trips you made to New York and the outcome of those Heisman votes?
It's tough, man. At the end of the day, the Heisman didn't make me as a player who I am today, anything, but it would have been definitely a great honor to have one. I felt like I put my heart out on the field, and I definitely deserved one. And when you go against a school and rush for almost 1,000 yards in 3 games against a certain school, and then their coach don't even put you on his ballot, man. It's just a tough pill to swallow.
We talked about that with
I am so glad you brought that up.
That's been Ty's main arguing point, T-Mac. Darren, he's hammered that point 20 times.
So I was about, when you were 2006, 2007, I think I was 10 or 11 years old, and I think one of the first couple times that I swore profusely were those 2 Heisman Trophy presidents. When I hear Troy Smith's name called in 2006, I understood it. I was like, okay, upperclassmen.
I didn't take that one as hard.
And let me go back to this. You said pre-Heisman Trophy presentation, didn't you say something to the nature, I hope Troy wins it, I think he deserves it? Something like that?
I can't even remember what it was, but it was something like that. I forget who I was talking about it with, but we was talking about, basically I came onto the scene late. Troy's been on there all year. I always got next year to come back because, sophomores don't really get it, so it didn't really bother me much because I didn't expect to win that year. But after my junior season, I actually expected to win the Heisman, and I was really shocked when I didn't hear my name called.
Listen, you can be humble about it. I'll get up in people's ass about this because you rushed for 321 against South Carolina. For however long the Heisman Trophy has been around, they have never, ever given it to a sophomore, ever. And then all of a sudden, the year that you were supposed to be getting it, the year you were on the Sports Illustrated, the year that you were projected as the number 1 draft pick in the NFL, they decide, oh, we're going to flip the script and give it to an underclassman. You can be humble about it. I'll be ticked off for you, man.
And see, the thing where I tell everybody, I can't take anything away from what Tim Tebow did that year. He had a hell of a year that year. No, I can't take anything away from that. But just going back to the past, how it was, never give it to a sophomore, hadn't been a sophomore to win it. And I feel like in a race that close, I definitely don't think it was the right thing to do.
You know what's bad about that, Darren, is you probably wanted to hate Tim so much, but he's too nice of a guy. Like, if it was anyone else, man, you would be so ticked. You'd probably be saying stuff under your breath to this guy. But it's like Tim. Like, I've met Tim, and I want to hate him, but I just can't, man.
Like you say, he's a very nice guy, man. Cool, very humble guy. I enjoyed the week that we had together in New York. And like I said, I can't take anything away from what he did, man. But even after the Heisman, after the announcement, a lot of the guys, at least half of the guys came up to me and was like, man, I voted for you. I think you should have won that one right there.
Should the number 5 be retired at Arkansas? Because most places where there's a Heisman Trophy winner, and I know you were the runner-up, but you're considered the greatest of all time by anyone probably under 50 that they've ever seen play in a Razorback jersey. What are your feelings when someone says, man, they should retire your number?
I would love to see that number hung up in the rafters. I'm not the type of the guy to go out and make a big scene about it or anything, but that's something I would love to see that number hung up on. Just for what I did, I made history. I was just about every school rushing record, part of the College Hall of Fame, 2-time Heisman runner-up, 2-time Doak Walker. I think that's a jersey that definitely deserves to be hung up.
So how do you feel when you see someone else out there wearing the number 5 in recent years?
It's always a mixed emotion when I see it, man. I want them to do the best, but at the same time, that's a number I don't even want to see out there, really. But it's part of football, man. That's not a number that somebody can just take with them and be like, yeah, go put this up. Yeah. And I feel like over time, as time goes on, the right people will make those right decisions. It'll eventually be hung up.
How painful has, particularly the last 2 years, but really the better part of the last 10 been for a player of your caliber, for the teammates you shared your time with? How hard has it been to stomach what's happened to the program, not particularly since you left, but the last decade or so?
It's been brutal, man. Been brutal, especially being in the locker room with guys you played against and, guys make friendly bets and things. I actually used to meet with the quarterbacks when I was in Oakland, and we would just make friendly bets. Every week I would pick Arkansas. Every week, no matter what. I don't care who they were playing, I was picking Arkansas. And so just eventually got to the point where I just bring in my $10 and just lay it on the desk and tell them, like, hey, let me know if we end up winning.
At least it was only 10.
Speaking with Darren McFadden here on the Morning Rush. Darren, I think that's one of the reasons that so many people, not only for your on-the-field accolades, but off the field, that they love you so much here because you are a Razorback. You're an Arkansan through and through. Tommy, born and raised in Fort Smith. Me, born and raised in Little Rock. We've had conversation with Tyler Wilson about this before. He, at one point in time, was looking to go to LSU. Now, he picked Arkansas, and I think he's forever grateful he did that decision. Recruiting wasn't as followed much back in the day. But when you were going through your high school college process, did you ever at any point think you were going elsewhere besides Arkansas?
I didn't never have a doubt in my mind that I was going anywhere else. I was offered as a sophomore. Come around my junior year, I was getting real recruited tough. Alabama had a running back coach by the name of Sparky Woods, and he was recruiting me real tough. And he almost had me ready to schedule an official visit. And I talked to my high school coach about it. He was just telling me, if you're going to go, there's no point of wasting their time and no point of wasting your own time. And so, like I say, for me, at the end of the day, I knew where I was going, but, I almost was swayed just to go on an official visit. But after we had that conversation, I was like, well, it's a waste of time. And I committed as a junior in high school and stuck by it and never wavered.
I know you got a chance to see Matt Jones in a good year in 2002. There were some other years as well. But some of these Arkansas football players that are going through high school right now, they haven't seen what it's like when Arkansas is just really good, really dominant like you guys were in 2006.
Right, exactly.
Does that worry you a little bit that some of these Arkansas kids, particularly Arkansas high school football athletes, haven't seen the last couple years, the pinnacle of Arkansas football?
I think a lot of kids now, they get caught up in the social media hype. And so once you see all these different schools and they come and show interest in you, and you're like, oh, they won a national championship, and they got these kind of caliber players, and it kind of makes you want to go that way, especially on the social media. I think with guys not being able to see Arkansas even have, so much success these last few years, it definitely affects that, because a lot of guys look at it like, I don't want to go to some sorry school. But at the same time, for me, I can't remember exactly what the record was when I was going to school my freshman year, but I want to say it was like 5-6 record or 4-7 record or something, but it didn't matter to me at the time, because, all I wanted to do was go and put a Razorback on my back and, just go up there and play football.
One of the things that amazed me is how you're physically put together, because your legs and your lower body don't have the same thickness. How did you provide the kind of – makes sense with the speed that, hey, those smaller legs would help you go faster, but then you put a whooping on somebody. And I've always wondered – how you did it as durable as you were when your lower body wasn't as maybe thick as some of the other running backs in the league at that time.
Funny, a lot of guys would say, anytime I talk to people, like especially like in the day and age when everybody can get on your social medias and make comments on your pictures and stuff, they would always say, man, you need to start working on your legs. That's why your legs get hurt. I tell people, like, my lower legs below my knees, they're skinny. That's hereditary, but I do have a little bit of power in my thighs. And so, that's pretty much what people see. They see the lower legs and they don't really think about the power in the thighs and things.
Former Razorback Darren McFadden with us on the Morning Rush. Darren, last question before we let you go, man. You're from the Little Rock area. You got the 501 boy on your biceps. What does that area code mean to you?
Man, that's everything. Born and raised there. It made me the person I am today, man, through all the trials and tribulations that I went through. Feel like I was still able to come out of the situation that I was in and come out to the other side of the tunnel and see the light. And, for me, I'm very thankful for being from Little Rock, Arkansas. And like I said, at the end of the day, it made me the person I am. And, I'm very proud of my home state and my city.
Darren McFadden, the greatest Razorback of all time. Darren, we really appreciate you joining us on the Morning Rush.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Y'all have a good one.